Hey guys, I'm Sean Owens, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install drywall anchors and how they actually work. So if you have experience with drywall anchors and you use them often, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm making this video. I've seen people do some weird stuff with them. I've seen them pre-drill into wood and then try to put the anchor in and the screw goes in after that. That's not what you do. The threads of the screw are meant to go directly into wood, so you don't need an anchor. If you hit a stud, if you know where they are, just put the screw directly in. If there's some reason why you can't, you can always go right in the center. And this is the area where you would use the drywall anchors. So what I did was, I built this temporary wall, and the studs are 16 inches on center, just like a regular wall. What I did was I left the back open so you guys can see exactly what's going on after we put in the anchors. So I'll show you what toggle bolts do, regular drywall anchors, and we'll go over the differences between them, what you have to do, and the strength depending on what you're actually hanging. All right, here's all the anchors lined up. These are your standard drywall anchors. They're all the same style, it's just they're different sizes, so you need different drill bits depending on what one you're going with. This one is a toggle bolt. I'm going to show you how that works at the ends, and these two are in their own separate category. These actually, you technically don't have to drill these in. What they do is they put a little end on it, so if you hammer it in to a certain point, then the threads take over, and I'll show you how that works too. All right, so before we install the anchors and I show you how they work, I want to show you a couple techniques to actually find the studs. The one technique you can use is a stud finder. They're really nice to have. So you see my studs right here. You put it right in the center, you turn it on, you hold that button down, you move it over, and it'll let you know exactly where that stud is. And then you make your mark and just go from there. The other technique you can use, I don't do it often. My dogs usually go nuts. I'll try to show you here. I'm sure they're gonna start barking, but if you start knocking in the hollow section and move over towards the stud, you hear that different pitch, and as you're going down, you can actually hear the hollowness right here in the center, and the farther you get over, you start to hear that stud. So when you do hit a stud, it's pretty obvious. If you have an impact drill like this, you can hear the difference when it's actually driving through the wood as opposed to you just missing right in the middle. Has a nice hearty sound to it. If you are in the middle, it's just gonna keep spinning. All right, screw's spinning around. There's nothing back there. It's not doing anything. Threads aren't able to grab. So now that we know nothing is back here, I'm gonna show you how to install this anchor and how to match up the drill bit so the hole isn't too small or too big. All right, so this is the anchor right here. I know it's hard to see from the camera, but what you want to do, you want to match up the drill bit. So the drill bit needs to be the same thickness as the core, and the anchor itself, these little tabs on the side, have to stick out past the drill bit when you line it up. So if it's right here, I know it's tough to see from the camera, but you see that's the perfect size. On the box of anchors too, it'll tell you what drill bit to use, and you just match it up that way. But if you don't have the box anymore, this is what you do. You hold the drill bit up to the anchor and measure the core of the anchor itself. All right, so we know what size bit that we're gonna use now. So we just gotta drill a hole. I'm gonna take the anchor and put it right in there. Perfect. So now we're just going to take our screw, put it in, and That's in there really good. So what happened was in the back, as you put the screw in, the anchor splits, and it splits to a point where you can't pull the screw out back through the hole. Yeah, it's in there really good. The next anchor that I want to show you guys how to do is the white plastic anchor that I showed you before. So here it is again. It has threads going on it and also a Phillips drive on it. So what you're technically supposed to do, hold it up to the sheetrock, take your hammer, hammer it in all the way until the threads reach the drywall. Once the threads reach the drywall, you stick your drill on and drive it the rest of the way like a screw, all the way until the front face right here is flush with the sheetrock. I personally don't like doing it that way. You're hammering plastic into the wall. Sometimes they bend, sometimes they don't. It only takes a second just to drill it. So what I do is pre-drill it, and then you stick this part through the hole, and then you drive it the rest of the way. Same principle as before. So the drill bit needs to be the same size as the core of the anchor. So see how those threads are sticking out? They need to be able to grip onto the drywall in order to hold everything. So these are actually much stronger than this other guy that I installed for you before. If you have any type of weight, if you have a bracket with a shelf on it with, you know, books or whatever, these are the anchors to use. I mean, these might work okay for you, but I personally, rather use these. They're a little bit stronger. If you're doing like a picture frame or something, you don't need these, you can, but it's overkill. But these are really meant for heavier items that you're hanging on the sheetrock. All right, so here's how we do this one. Drill our hole. You put it right on here. So it's nice and flush. Then all you do is take your screw, and that's it. All right, so here's the next option. It's very similar to what we just put in. This one's metal, and this one actually doesn't expand, so on the other side of the wall. So when you put the screw in, the screws are pretty small with these. When you put the screw in, the threads within the metal anchor actually catch the screw threads, and that's what holds everything in. So these you don't have to pre-drill. They're metal, so they're really strong. You don't have to hammer anything. Like literally all you do, it's the same thing as before with the Phillips drive on it. You put it on your drill, and it goes in just like that. Next, you take the little screw, you put it right in there, and you're done. All right, so the last one I'm gonna show you is the toggle bolt. This one's a little bit different than the other ones that we just saw. They can be a little tricky. They have these little wings on the side that fold and then snap back out. So the basic principle behind these, what happens is when you drill the hole has to be the same size as the metal section right here that it's going into. Once you drill the hole, you fold the wings back, stick it through the hole. Once this section of it gets behind the drywall, they snap back, and this is threaded here. You take your drill, and as you drill it, it pushes this whole wing mechanism over towards the drywall and slams it against it. So the only tricky part is you can't just screw forward. You have to pull this back and apply a little bit of pressure so the screw has some room to actually, go into the threads of the wings. All right, so there's one more thing I want to point out before we install this one. If you're using a toggle bolt for like a bracket, say you have a bracket that comes down here, like goes up here and then shoots over, you put like a shelf on it. What you want to do, these are threaded, so I want you to take the screw out this screw right here goes in the hole of the bracket here. Then you thread the toggle back on right over to this area like this. That's very important. You want to drill your hole. You got here, you take the wings, you fold them back, you push this through like that. Those wings clip open, and here's the tricky part here. Behind the wall, I mean, it's easy to see now, this is exactly what's going on. Most people will put it in and there's not a lot going on. You're only at this side. It feels loose, it just doesn't feel right, it's gonna keep spinning. What you wanna do, as you're screwing it, keep pressure on it just like this. Hold the drill. You see that screw going all the way through? Now, if I had an actual bracket here, this screw would go all the way to the bracket and stop here, and these wings would be tight to the drywall. I don't have a bracket here, so it's not gonna work in that scenario, but I just wanted you to see what the toggle bolt actually does on the other side. All right guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you liked it, just hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.